We got another one. Hurricanes get a big body, rangy safety, originally from Canada to Clearwater and now to the 305. Isaiah Thomas. Welcome to the U.
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I am Alex Donno, your host, University of Miami alumnus, longtime South Florida sports radio vet, contributor to allhurricanes.com. Thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first, second, maybe third listen of the day. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts and available free on YouTube. I'm so happy the Miami Hurricanes get another verbal commit. It keeps rolling, and Isaiah Thomas, 6'2", he might even be 6'3" at this point, 205-pound plus safety out of Clearwater Academy International. And boy, that school does such a great job literally importing talent. Do you remember Akeem Mesidor? That's another Clearwater Academy International guy. He's also from Canada. So we're loading up with Canadians here. Isaiah Thomas, class of 2024, 3-star safety by the composite rankings, but he did just earn his 4th star from Rivals, and hopefully the 4th star is coming soon from some other services. Isaiah, last night on Wednesday night, announced his verbal commitment to the University of Miami. I'm so happy to have this young man aboard. And to talk about him, we're joined by my colleague at All Hurricanes, does an awesome job all throughout Fan Nation. Brian Smith is with us. Brian, how are you, sir?
Doing well. Thank you for having me, sir.
It's always my pleasure. And you've seen Isaiah Thomas up close in person. What's Miami getting?
Length. I was talking to Jesse Cincher, the head coach over there. He's 6'7.5" in wingspan, which is just it's what you're looking for from a weak side defensive end. But he's a safety. I mean, it's bizarre to have a kid with that kind of range and length. And the film and all the accolades, what the offers don't lie. It's a program now that's kind of on the national scene. If you recruit Florida, you have to recruit Clearwater Academy International. And this is a kid that can play multiple spots. So I'm really surprised that Miami was able to get him this. Or he had a bunch of offers. Miami did a great job of recruiting him. And they're getting a guy that can play in the box. He could play slot. He can blitz. He was a very good blitzer last year. Versatility never goes out of style, Alex. Never, never, never. And that's what the Canes are getting with this young man.
Is there a player comp for Isaiah Thomas? I was talking before he announced his commitment. I was talking with John Garcia yesterday. He brought up some comparisons to James Williams. And I know all of our listeners were like, well, I hope he tackles better than James. I hope he can tackle. I don't know. He seems dimensions wise. He reminds me a little bit of Kaleb Spencer. Like, how do you see him? Maybe he might be the perfect marriage between those two.
I think that's part of what Lance Guidry is trying to do. Length is something that all college programs want. But when he was at Marshall, they had guys like that could play multiple spots. And Guidry's a tremendous defensive backs coach. He specializes in safety anyway. And this is the absolute profile of what he did there. And now he's going to be on a program with more talent, obviously, at Miami. So the competition goes up. I'm a big fan of the young man that just enrolled in Miami that you just mentioned. And he is a great comp to that. So length, ability to change positions, that's what Guidry wants, and that's what he's getting with this young man.
Yeah, and so, Brian, do you think Miami's going to keep it rolling now in recruiting because they've gotten, 5 verbal commits in the last handful of days? It seems like they're having them kind of lining up this week to give us like a new, it's like a daily special, like bat signals come out every day. You think we're going to keep it rolling here?
I mean, they did such a tremendous job with, I even told you this, I couldn't keep up with the unofficial visits during spring ball or the spring game. When I was at the spring game, like somebody would walk by me like, oh, I know that kid. It was just unbelievable. California, New Jersey, they were from all over. And of course, the 305 area, it was amazing. I would guess they're going to get 2 or 3 more before the end of May. There's just a lot of kids, spring ball, the coaches will be going out on the road across the country, UM included. Some of those kids will finalize that weren't quite ready. That's the norm. If Miami is in double digits, they're at 7, I believe now, for verbal commitments for the class of 24. forward. If they're in double digits by the end of May, it wouldn't surprise me. There are a lot of South Florida kids that still haven't made a decision. That, you know, South Florida kids are hard to predict, but those are always possibilities. Central kids, New Orleans kids, STA, etc. Those are possibilities. I'm not going to try and guess exactly who it's going to be, though. I mean, it's been amazing how hard it's been to figure out who's going to make an announcement today, and then boom, you get a text like, oh, it's going to be that guy. So
you guys should see the text conversations that Brian and I have when the bat signals come out. Like, it could be this guy or it could be that guy or this guy. It's crazy.
It's fun, but it is very, very difficult because Miami is a national recruiting program. And one of the reasons they did that, because he was at Oregon talking about Cristobal with his staff. So they knew the California kids and some of the coaches out there. And Miami did that even back all the way back into the 80s. Torretta and some of the different guys who played for them. California, it's nothing different. They're going to get some of those elite kids, and then they're going to get as many South Florida kids on top of that. The thing is, most of those guys tend to decide later, so you're not just going to sit back and wait. So this is a great recruiting strategy. Keep your mind open to players all across the United States.
So Isaiah Thomas verbally committed to the Miami Hurricanes. Do you see him as a good fit in Lance Guidry's defense, and what kind of a role do you expect him to play?
Here's the thing. I think that he is the Swiss Army knife, and that's something that he mentioned, honestly, in the interview. But I don't think there's one spot you should pigeonhole him. He's a very smart kid, and Guidry likes to move people around. His scheme can be complex down the road. It won't be necessarily year one, but as long as he stays at Miami, it'll get a little more diverse and more. This is a kid that can line up when he comes on the field at like 3 spots. So when the offense comes out, okay, he's here, but on the next play, he's somewhere completely different. So I'm going to guess strong safety will be the starting point, but nickel and playing almost like in the dime package, like a linebacker kind of role, because like you mentioned in the opening, he's just over 200 pounds now, and he hasn't even touched his senior year of high school, nor the University of Miami strength and conditioning program. He's going to get bigger. Yeah. So he could be like James is what, 220, give or take, something like that. Why, Isaiah could certainly end up at that size. James can play all kinds of things. He's a freak. We all know that. And I'm not saying he's that level of freak, but he is truly undervalued. And to your point earlier, he should be a 4-star, in my opinion. And, I'm going to go see him on Friday, hopefully get some more verification to that. But I think he starts at strong safety, but he'll play nickel and he'll play in some other different packages. He'll be Miami's do-it-all player on defense.
That's a strong endorsement for Isaiah Thomas. Welcome to the newest Miami Hurricane. We will talk to you guys next time on another episode of Locked On Canes, part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.